12 p.m., October 23rd, 2000, South China Sea. The midday sun flashes across an endless stretch of blue as the USS Princeton, a Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruiser, moves through calm water at 18 knots. Her radar mast turns steadily as regular as a heartbeat. This should have been just another routine freedom of navigation patrol with the Nimitz Carrier Strike Group. A standard mission built on presence, discipline, and professionalism. But the sea rarely stays quiet for long. At exactly 12:03 p.m., the SPY-1D radar picks up something unexpected. A fast, highly reflective contact appears at 200 kilometers, heading straight toward the American formation. Within seconds, operators inside the Combat Information Center confirm the identification. A People's Liberation Army Navy Type 052D destroyer, hull number 173, call sign Jinan. Inside the CIC, the Tactical Action Officer calls it out. Contact accelerating from 18 to 30 knots in under 90 seconds. Course 240, direct intercept. The bridge falls silent. Captain Robert H. Dwyer studies the display, eyes narrowed behind polarized lenses. Maintain ROE. Log everything. Hail once, then go active. The communications officer opens a channel on an open frequency in both English and Mandarin. Unidentified PLA Navy vessel. This is a United States Navy warship operating in international waters. Maintain safe separation. You are closing distance at high speed. No reply, only static. Through binoculars, lookouts catch the pale white wake of the Chinese destroyer, cutting south at full power. Sunlight flashes off her twin radar arrays. The hull number comes into view. There is no misunderstanding her intention. At 12:07 p.m., the range drops below 30 nautical miles. The CIC updates the new CPA, closest point of approach, at just 5 miles and still shrinking. In naval terms, that is extremely close. The tension thickens. Everyone aboard Princeton understands how quickly a close intercept can escalate. On nearby command displays, the ship's Aegis system comes fully alive. Surface tracking radars shift into precision mode. The SLQ-32 electronic warfare suite begins recording every pulse coming off the Chinese destroyer's radar. A digital fingerprint that will go directly to Pacific Command. Captain Dwyer checks the tactical clock. Time to engagement range, 14 minutes at current speed, sir. He gives a small nod. Let's see how badly they want to embarrass themselves. Out on deck, sailors tighten helmet straps and recheck tie-downs. Heat rises from the steel hard enough to shimmer the air. High overhead, an E-2D Hawkeye circles at 25,000 feet, watching the region with a bird's-eye view. The air controller's voice comes through the command net. Air picture clear for now. Chinese carrier group detected north-northwest, probable Shandong. The captain doesn't look up. Of course it is, he mutters. At 12:10 p.m., the Chinese destroyer crosses inside 20 nautical miles. Her wake burns bright behind her stern. No fishing traffic, no merchant ships, just 2 warships on mirrored courses in open water. Inside the CIC, the electronic warfare officer reports a new emission. Sir, we're receiving narrowband radar sweeps from their forward array, low-power search mode. That's the line. It isn't full targeting yet, but it is deliberate tracking behavior. Everyone on Princeton understands that. Captain Dwyer gives another measured order. General quarters, all systems cold, sensors hot. Red lights flare through the passageways, hatches slam shut. In seconds, the cruiser shifts from routine patrol to full battle readiness. By 12:12 p.m., the atmosphere is electric. Radar operators track every vector change. Technicians log every signal. Gun crews stand by at their stations. On the bridge, the captain's voice cuts through the silence. They're testing us. Let's make sure they remember the result. Princeton holds course, steady, deliberate, unshaken. Her radar dome turns beneath the sun, building a flawless picture of the incoming destroyer. Every second is logged. Every sound is recorded. Every bearing is locked in. Somewhere beyond the horizon, on the deck of a Chinese warship, another captain is staring through his own lenses, deciding whether this is the day he blinks. 12:14 p.m. CPA, now 3.6 nautical miles. One wrong move and the world gets its next headline. By 12:15 p.m., the tension aboard USS Princeton is so heavy it feels almost physical beneath the electronic whine of the consoles. Tropical glare floods the bridge windows. On the horizon, the gray shape sharpens, bow wave cutting hard, radar masts glinting like twin blades. "Contact steady bearing," calls the surface watch officer. "Range 18 nautical miles and closing." Inside the CIC, the tactical action officer keeps his voice calm and level. Cooperative engagement capability online. Strike group network confirmed. Sharing track data across the fleet now. The USS Nimitz and her escorts instantly received the same tactical picture. New digital symbols bloom across radar scopes over encrypted Link 16. Every ship now sees what Princeton sees and what she doesn't. At 12:17 p.m., activity erupts on Nimitz's flight deck. Steam vents from the catapults. Yellow shirt directors swing their paddles as F/A-18 Super Hornets taxi into position. "Launch the cap," the air boss orders. Minutes later, 4 fighters roar into the sky, climbing into the blinding white light above the sea. At the same time, the destroyers Chung-Hoon and Kidd move outward into flanking positions around the carrier, a classic protective posture. The strike group forms a rotating shield. 12:19 p.m. The E-2D Hawkeye, circling high overhead, detects a new signature. Multiple air contacts bearing 072, range 180 nautical miles, launching from Shandong carrier. The CIC goes quiet. Everyone knows what that means. J-15 fighters are on the way. Captain Dwyer doesn't even blink. "Acknowledge. No change in posture. Log every track." As the Chinese aircraft climb, their radar emissions spread across Princeton's spectrum analyzer. The SLQ-32 captures every frequency, every pulse, every detail. Valuable intelligence for Pacific Command. Then another report comes in from Nimitz. Growlers are up. EA-18G electronic warfare aircraft race toward the scene, their ALQ-99 pods already active. The air around them seems to crackle as wideband jamming begins. And suddenly, confusion blooms, but only on one side. On Chinese radar scopes, the American formation appears to multiply. Ghost ships, false returns, phantom aircraft. Princeton's true position fades behind a wall of electronic haze. "Countermeasures holding," says the EWO. Their fire control solution can't settle. At 12:22 p.m., the Jinan changes tactics. The destroyer shifts 10 degrees to port, slicing diagonally across Princeton's projected course. The message is unmistakable. Pressure through proximity. The radio crackles again, Mandarin-accented English cutting through the static. "U.S. warship, you are operating in Chinese waters. Leave immediately." Captain Dwyer answers evenly. "Negative. This is international water. Your maneuver is unsafe. Maintain course and speed." No reply. Only the distant growl of turbines across the horizon. At 12:25 p.m., tension spikes again. Princeton's sensors pick up another contact, low, fast, metallic. Possible submarine periscope wake, bearing 165, sonar reports. The CIC cross-checks the signature. Likely a Type 039 diesel-electric submarine. Loud, close, and not especially subtle. Range 80 nautical miles, moving in slowly. Captain Dwyer responds without hesitation. "Tag him. Keep him honest." Back topside, the ocean still looks calm and endless. But everyone can feel the invisible geometry tightening. Destroyer from the west, fighters from the north, submarine creeping from the south. The Americans are being boxed in from 3 sides. Then, at 12:27 p.m., everything changes. Princeton's passive sensors register a new signal. Focused, unmistakable, and impossible to ignore. Type 346 A phased array radar, fire control mode. The Chinese destroyer is no longer just searching. It is now actively tracking for engagement. "Fire control illumination detected," the EWO shouts. In an instant, the room transforms. Red lights flare brighter. Defensive systems spin up. SM-6 and SM-2 interceptors stand ready inside their launch cells, waiting only for the captain's command. Lock duration, 30 seconds and holding steady. Captain Dwyer's jaw tightens. Maintain weapons hold. Record everything. Out on the horizon, unseen radio waves cut across the sea. The electromagnetic equivalent of a finger resting on the trigger. "Sir, Recommendation to counter-illuminate, the TAO says quietly. Dwyer shakes his head. Not yet. Let them blink first. Silence returns. Every sailor aboard Princeton understands the stakes. One wrong move now, and things could escalate in seconds. Then, lock released, the EWO announces. They've dropped illumination. A slow breath moves through the CIC. Relief mixes with adrenaline. Captain Dwyer breaks the silence, just as calmly as before. They wanted a reaction. We gave them discipline. But it's not over. Not yet. The radar officer leans forward, eyes narrowing. Sir, J-15 approaching Mach 0.9, altitude 14,000 feet, range 50 miles. The captain glances at the clock. Then we're about to see how far they want to push this. 12:30 p.m. The South China Sea looks calm, bright, almost peaceful. But on Princeton's radar screens, the picture is anything but. Green arcs, fading tracks, pulsing icons, each one representing a real aircraft or ship moving fast and closing distance. J-15ES, now 40 miles out, the air controller reports. No weapons activity detected. Captain Dwyer nods. Steady, maintain course. Keep everything on record. High above the fleet, contrails streak across the sky. American F/A-18 Super Hornets climb into intercept positions, their wings flashing in the sunlight. They form a layered formation, 3 altitude levels stacked like steps. They're not looking for a fight, but they're ready if things go further. 12:33 p.m. The sonar station cuts through the calm. Subsurface contact bearing 159, range 15,000 yards, snorkel detected. Classified as probable type 039. A quiet chuckle moves through the CIC. He's making noise like a freight train, one tech mutters. Dwyer doesn't react. Hold course, keep him boxed. Aboard USS Nimitz, the pace accelerates. Steam bursts from the catapults as aircraft launch in sequence. Growlers, Super Hornets, Hawkeyes. What one pilot would later call a storm of wings. The deck shakes with the roar of engines. The Growlers go to work first. Their jamming systems begin spreading invisible layers across the sky. Signals ripple outward, disrupting opposing radar like a digital shockwave. On the Shandong's displays, contacts multiply, targets merging, disappearing, reappearing. The picture becomes unreliable. Meanwhile, the Hawkeyes orbit high above, directing the airspace like silent chess masters. Every American aircraft shares the same data in real time. Perfect coordination, 12:40 p.m. The J-15 pilots begin to realize the situation. Their radar picture is unstable. Communications are fragmented. Fuel consumption climbs faster than expected. Operating from a ski jump carrier limits their range and payload. Time is not on their side. In their cockpits, tension rises. Voices overlap on the radio. Below, Princeton remains steady, the calm center of a widening storm. Her interceptors stay sealed in their launch cells, but tracking solutions are active, precise, ready. Captain, the TAO says, J-15ES dropping altitude. Looks like they're disengaging. Copy, Dwyer replies. Maintain tracking. Log their exit vector. 12:45 p.m. The electronic haze begins to clear. The Chinese destroyer reduces speed to 15 knots and turns west. Its radar emissions fade. Silence replaces activity. The submarine to the south levels off and slips deeper underwater. For the first time in nearly 40 minutes, the ocean feels still again. But Dwyer isn't finished. Have Hawkeye mark every emission and timestamp. I want a full report to 7th Fleet by 1800. The CIC crew moves with quiet efficiency, collecting, tagging, encrypting. To an outside observer, nothing happened here today. But to analysts, this moment is pure data. Radar signatures, engine patterns, communication fragments, every detail valuable. 1 p.m. Then, unexpectedly, a new contact appears, 6 nautical miles north of Shandong. IFF reads friendly, a Virginia-class U.S. Navy submarine, and it surfaces, deliberately. On Chinese decks, binoculars snap upward as a dark hull breaks through the water. Water cascades off the sail as the American flag unfolds in the sunlight. It remains visible for less than 90 seconds, just long enough to be seen, photographed, understood. Then it disappears beneath the surface again. Not a threat, a message. Back aboard Princeton, radar contacts begin to fade one by one. All Chinese units moving west, reports the CIC. No further aggressive activity. Dwyer exhales slowly. Then it's over. No cheering, no celebration, just quiet professionalism. They log the moment and move on. 3 p.m. Officially, this will be described as a routine naval exercise. Both sides will keep their statements measured, but those involved know what really happened. This was a test, and one side chose to step back first. 4 p.m. The carrier strike group resumes its course. Engines hum steadily beneath the calm sky. No contrails now, no signal clutter, just open ocean again. For the crew of Princeton, the adrenaline fades, but something else remains. Pride. No shots were fired. None were needed. Precision. Discipline. Presence. That was enough. In the captain's log, the final entry reads, "No damage, no losses, mission complete, message delivered." This moment won't dominate headlines, but its lesson will carry far. Strength isn't always about escalation. Sometimes it's about holding your ground without overreacting. The South China Sea remains one of the most contested regions in the world, a constant game of positioning, signals, and pressure. But on this day, one cruiser proved something important. Control isn't just about power, it's about restraint backed by readiness. So what do you think? Should the US respond more assertively in situations like this? Or is controlled discipline the smarter approach in these gray zone encounters? Share your thoughts in the comments, subscribe for more real-time naval breakdowns, and join the channel to support future content. Because out here, strength isn't about who acts first, it's about who stays steady and never flinches.